What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. Ammo test series number 2 for 38 Special. We have a Plus P offering today from Federal. This is Federal Punch 120 grain jacketed hollow point. This Plus P variety of 38 Special is advertised to go 1,000 feet per second out of the muzzle, giving you 266 foot-pounds of energy. At first glance, they don't look much different from any other jacketed hollow point ammunition. There's scoring in the copper jacket here to help it pedal apart and expand properly. It has a pretty deep cavity, so you know you will get some expansion, but these things are known to go ahead and punch, just like the name intends. They're supposed to go a little bit deeper than normal. You'll notice these have a sealed primer. Some people argue about the effectiveness of sealing primers, if it's necessary or not, but in a revolver where things are just a little bit more open, I prefer actually to have a sealed primer. So, nice addition. I'm not sure if the bullet is sealed in there or not. It doesn't appear to be. But since we're picking apart the details, and we usually don't do that too much, but I'm going to go ahead and mention that these cases are some of the dirtiest cases I've seen from factory defensive ammunition. This looks like the brass went through a wash, and maybe the wash water was a little dirty, didn't get that great of a final rinse or something, but there's some kind of tarnishing going on here, or some kind of staining. It's on all of them. They look like something you found at the flea market that's been around someone's basement for about 20 years and they pulled it out to sell to you. So thanks for primer sealing it, but let's get some better looking brass for defensive ammunition. We like to keep things consistent with our gel testing, so just like the last gel test, number 1, where we did the double tap, we'll be using the same 3 firearms. Basically, we have a 2-inch Ruger SP101, then we move up to a 3-inch Chiappa Rhino, and then we go to a 4-inch Ruger GP100. Now, we've chosen these specific revolver lengths to represent what most people will be carrying. I know there's shorter, I know there's longer, but for the most part, this will fit the role of most carry guns and a lot of home defense guns in general. We'll be using each firearm to put 4 rounds into each of these B8 targets to check for accuracy, and at the same time, we're going to be going through the chronograph so that we can get an average of feet per second and therefore foot-pounds of energy. Then we're going to move the chronograph to in front of the gel blocks, and we're going to attempt to catch the velocity of the actual projectile that strikes the gel blocks. We have 2 20-inch, 10% clear ballistics gel blocks. One is cleaner than the other. I don't think we're going to get through the first one. The second one is basically a catcher block, in case for some reason this stuff really is super punchy. One more thing to explain is I do all my accuracy testing offhand. I don't use a bench or a table or a rest or anything like that. Again, we're checking this for defensive capabilities, and in a defensive application, you're not going to have any of those luxuries. So we're doing practical accuracy, just hands and guns and nothing else. With all that explained, let's get to shooting. All right, first one up is the Ruger SP101. This has about a 2-inch barrel on it, and it does not have a hammer spur. It still has a hammer, but it's supposed to be non-snaggy. We also have gutter sights here with a front black post, so not the easiest gun to shoot. It has a big, long trigger pull, and it has an actually excruciating trigger pull, but it's made for safety when you're deep concealing something that you don't want to snag. So let's see what we can get done accuracy-wise, and let's see how it feels in the hand out of a 2-inch gun. We had 10:25, and it takes me a long time because I'm trying to take a good shot. If you don't control this trigger, you're going to throw it. So we're trying to get at least somewhat good accuracy, even though it's practical accuracy. And that one went a little high to the right. We had an error 3. That one was still to the right, 974. And we had another error. And that was 4 shots. Let's go take a look. So the velocity's not that bad for this size of a barrel compared to what they stated on the box. We did have 4 shots go kind of right and high for me. This one really, I don't understand what happened. I thought I had everything lined up, but you never know. Like I said, they're not the best sights. I'm trying to check everything right before that trigger sets off, but this thing is trending high and right for me with this gun today. Let's move on to the Chiappa Rhino. Totally different animal. And like a dummy, I was shooting at the wrong target, so my chronograph wasn't exactly where it was supposed to be. That's probably why I had some errors. Hopefully we do better this time. I'm going to shoot at the center target this time. 882, that's a significant drop. and 948. $963. And $929. So still shooting double action. Very easy to shoot out of these guns. They're very nice to shoot. A lot of people do like them for that, even with 357 Magnum. We did a little bit better. Let's go take a look. So I did get one in the X-ring where I wanted it, but the other three did trend high and to the right. Could be my shooting today. Could be something to do with double action triggers for me today. Let's move on to the GP100 and see if anything changes there. All right, here's a normal revolver finally. And I forgot to mention, we are 15 feet off that chronograph, 20 feet off that target. Now this time we're going to be going for the top right target. And I'm going to continue with the double action because that's how we started. On an empty chamber. That one went really high. Holy crap, 1050. That is horrendous. At least, I hope that's not me. That one went pretty high too. That was 1057. Wow, that one went high also. That was 1046. And that one went stupid high too, 1080. So we increased velocity, but boy did we increase the elevation. This gun does not shoot on a 6 o'clock hold. This thing shoots point of aim, point of impact. That's ridiculous. I don't understand what that's all about, but let's go take a look. That is stupid high. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it wasn't like that on the Chiappa as bad. I at least got one in there. Now, we could say this could be my shooting, but it's really not. I'm lining up the top of the post here with the top of the rear notches, the rear sights, and it's supposed to pretty much at least be within the black. This is kind of wonky. So I normally don't do a little side break for a video, but I have to do this right now. Camera guy and I just went and evaluated Ammo Test Series number 1 with 38 Special, where we were shooting the double tap hard cast equalizer round. It has 2 flat discs in it, 38 Special, and we had much better accuracy out of all 3 guns in my opinion. I encourage you to watch that video. There's going to be a snapshot in the corner of this specific target with this specific gun. The equalizer, like I said, shoots 2 different discs. In my opinion, theoretically, it kind of could be less accurate. It's not one projectile, super aerodynamic, it's just a disc. Who knows, sometimes they spread apart, but overall, the group was much better. The group was still a little bit high, as you see in the picture, but nothing like this. This is crazy. And then here, I don't believe we had as good of a group with the Chiappa, and I don't think we had as good of a group with the SP101. Sorry, I can't even talk right now. But overall, I'm just going to give the accuracy today for me with these guns and this ammo. I have to keep saying that because there's a lot of parameters at stake, but I'm not that good with this ammo as far as accuracy. If you increase the distance at all, I'm going to come way off target with all this stuff. That's unacceptable for me. I just have to call it out, especially compared to an ammo test that we just did that had great results. And that's exactly why you guys should subscribe to this channel if you're not already, because you get no BS content right here. We're not paid off by anybody. We can talk the honest truth. This ammo wasn't sent to us by anybody for free. We bought it with our own money. We're going to test it, and we're going to tell you the truth. All right, we're about 15 feet off that chronograph and target. I'm going to try my best to hit this thing accurately because I'm not shooting very accurately today. We need to put them in the right places in the gel block. Hopefully we get this done. I was aiming at the left bottom corner of that block, and I hit the high top right corner of that block. That's goofy as crap, but let's go take a look. We did get 1,000 feet per second right on the head, so the box was accurate on that. They got one thing right. I'm not trying to pick on them, but it's just, man, that accuracy is really bothering me right there. So that's where we entered the block, right there. Like I said, I was literally aiming right there, hoping to get somewhere in here and win it up all the way over here. So even compensating, Kentucky windage couldn't get it done properly. Let's straighten this tape out real quick. We have a new pink tape for you guys. We want to switch the colors up. The entrance wound doesn't look bad for a 38 Special. It did its job as far as creating that little bit of cavitation or whatever, the hydraulic push forward effect. It came down, narrowed down like it normally does. The bullet is not facing forward. That's okay. It creates more disruption that way. And it has a little bit of bounce back. I'm gonna back up here to this tape. I'm gonna call the bounce back from almost 12 inches back to a little bit under 11 inches. So we had close to an inch of bounce back, and again, that's okay. Elastic gel does that. The bullet looks like it opened up, performed well as far as pedaling back. As far as depth and penetration, it's right there at the minimum of what people usually want, especially if we're going to talk about the whole FBI stuff and all that, which I don't give that much credit. I just do the normal gel test and we see what kind of penetration we get here, and we try to translate to every other caliber that we've shot in here, like 10 millimeter, 45, 9 millimeter, and things like that. For a 38, not that bad. And I haven't seen it yet, but camera guy said there's a pretty good temporary wound cavity on the slow motion. It looks the same from the top as you would see from the side. We do see that lead smushed out pretty good. It did do its job of opening up and becoming, the hollow point effect. You can see the bounce back there too. Let's kick it up a little bit with the Chiappa Rhino, which sometimes helps and sometimes doesn't. You can lose velocity out of that gun, and that's weird, but it has something to do with the way that thing's set up. Let's take a shot. And like I said, I don't know what it is. There's not any like huge cylinder gap. I'm not measuring it or anything, but it's not like you could see a Grand Canyon through there or anything. But something about this gun seems to bleed off velocity somehow, at least in a lot of ammunitions that we tried. I'm gonna aim lower left again, and who knows where we're gonna end up, but I'm gonna actually go double action on this one to try to accomplish accuracy. Or single action. I actually put it where I wanted to, 966. .966, and I put it a little bit higher and righter than I wanted to, so still not perfect, but at least we got it in a decent portion of the block that we can visualize things. Coming in from the side and straightening up the tape as we go, we see pretty identical performance actually. We don't see much of a difference there. It's still opened up. It's facing forward. It had the same bounce back, and if you put them side by side, the channels do look very similar. They're going to look different a little bit because of the twist that goes into the block, but the one that's closer to us might look a little bit bigger in the very beginning, but then the other one looks a little bit bigger a little farther down. Let's take a look from the top and see what we get, but this one might have landed just a hair shorter. I could call this one at maybe 10 3/4 with a bounce back from 11 1/2. So maybe just a little bit of the less penetration effect here. And remember, we had 966, so it does bleed it off. We got an extra inch out of that barrel, but less velocity out of that one. The wound track you see at the top of the screen, that is the one we just did, and like I said, looks pretty much the same from the top too. The bullet opened up and it performed, and it got to just about as deep as it needs to get for a 38 Special, I would suppose. Not too bad. All right, now we're going to 4 inches, so I'm assuming we're gonna hit the 1050 or something like that in the feet per second. We'll see how that translates, if it puts the brakes on faster or if it goes deeper, because remember, it's a punch, it's supposed to go a little deeper. I'm gonna aim at the very bottom of this block and just hope for the best. I'm gonna go ahead and do it on single action. And I picked the wrong one, and all right, we had it close to the other one, but I think we did okay. 1004, so not quite 1050, but right there what the box would say. It's pretty weird how a 2-inch gun and a 4-inch gun can basically accomplish 1,000 feet per second, but the 3-inch gun just can't do what it's supposed to do as far as what you would think it would do. All right, there's that entrance right under the top right, so we got the middle hole right there. And coming in from the side, that one did go ahead and punch deeper. So that one went a little farther. I would say it had a more violent beginning of the wound track also. Notice it's a little bit wider and just looks a little bit bigger the whole way down, just a hair. It still goes ahead and it smooths down at the end, and it still has a poke back. It has a little bit of a more poke back than the rest of them. I'd say we're going from 13 3/4 back to about 12.5 on this one. Opened up, sitting sideways, not sitting flat face forward, but that's okay again. Let's look from the top. All right, we have that middle wound channel, and from the top it doesn't look too dramatic like it does from the side compared to the other ones, but we definitely did get a little bit more of a punch. You see the bounce back, and you see it's opened up looking nice. Not too bad for that one. We did get enough penetration. I think that's comparable to what a lot of people are seeing in 9mm, and this is coming out of a 38. It is a plus P. Let's get these dug out and see what they look like. All right, we've dug all three out. Here is the SP101, here is the Chiappa Rhino, and here is the GP100. I would say that the SP101 seems to have the flatter of the face. This one has the deepest face, or the deepest hole left still, so flatter, medium, and less flat. We'll have the diameters and the weights up in the corner. I'm pretty sure they retained everything. What they look like on the side, there we go with that. They pedaled back. They're not bonded to the copper jacket. I did just drop this one in the mud here a second ago, so that one's a little bit dirty, but they might have lost some stuff in the gel. I don't think too much though, but they're not bonded like you would see a Talon or something like that, or the Winchester Defender, but they still remained a good shape. Turning them upside down, nothing special. You see the copper pedaled back, you see the lead chasing it a little bit, and they stayed pretty uniform all the way around. I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. At those velocities, you can't expect them to do anything crazy. They're not going to shatter or anything like that, you wouldn't think. But we wanted them to open up. At the lower velocities, our biggest concern is, are they going to do this? So we have a whole jumble of information for you right there. I'm not sure how helpful it is, but at least we compiled it. We have some velocities. We have some slow motion footage. We showed you that the accuracy, at least for me, two out of these three firearms is not very good. One is kind of acceptable. It's weird how velocity bleeds off in that Chiappa. Bullet performance relative to velocity seems to stay pretty good no matter what. We did have a little bit more punch out of the 4-inch barrel, but that was out of the gun that was extremely inaccurate for me. So I don't know, the bullet did perform consistently, we can give it that. However, that is in 10% clear ballistics gel, bare gel. That's not meat, that's not anything like that. So it doesn't take into account any other variables. That's just 10% gel. Am I gonna be stocking up on this ammunition personally? No, but let me know in the comments what you think about it, or if you do have it or use it, or if you've had better success with accuracy, if you've performed differently in gel. It is a normal day today. The gel is not a cold temperature. It's like 50 degrees out right now. It came from the house. It was 80 degrees or 70 degrees in my house, not 80. It's about 70 degrees. So it's normal conditions for gel. That's as far as we got, 12 inches-ish. So what does the punch really mean? Not trying to beat up on this ammunition, but it's just not really impressing me. And I usually don't even throw my opinions in there like that. I just leave it up to you guys most of the time. But I had to add my 2 cents this time. Go ahead and leave your comments. Like I said, let me know what you think. Hope you enjoy this kind of testing. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share it with somebody else who might like it. We are on Patreon if you feel compelled to help support the channel. Also, we've turned on the YouTube join button, so if you want to become a member of the channel, there you go. Thank you for watching this No BS testing. Keep your eyes out for all sorts of other tests and all sorts of other calibers, gun reviews, things like that. We do all sorts of stuff on the Turkey's Opinion. And until we see you next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.